Hi, welcome back to Vietnam Real Estate Insights, the program that looks at the market and brings industry experts to you to discuss the opportunities and challenges. Today with me is Michael Dang, the founder and managing director of MIK Corporation, as well as the president of Anpha Corporation. Michael, welcome to the program.
Very glad to meet up with you, and thank you very much to invite me to here.
Thank you for your time. Let me tell our viewers a little bit about you.
Thank you.
So Michael's background is quite extensive. He is, as I said, the president of Anpha Corporation and the founder and managing director of MIK, two of the leading real estate developing and consultancy firms in Vietnam. He was the CEO of Futa Corporation, with $2.5 billion worth of assets in real estate, and the owner of the largest fleet of long-distance luxury buses in Vietnam. Also, Michael was the group CIO of Tuan Chau Group, with 14 subsidiaries operating in hospitality, tourism, entertainment, cruise lines, and real estate. And at 27 years old, he was the CEO and president of Satcom Real, which is a leading real estate developer and agency here. Wow, a lot of achievements. Currently, Michael is on the board of advisors of Hoa Binh Corporation, which is the largest private construction company in Vietnam with overseas operations. And prior to all of this, Michael was in Singapore with Capital Land Group and Philips Electronics. Michael's graduated from Nanyang Technical University in Singapore, and is also an alum of the same university as me, Cornell University in Ithaca, New York. And finally, you're a representative of UNESCO in Vietnam. Wow. Okay, so thanks for taking time from your busy schedule to be with us today.
All right, great.
Great. Well, first question. Tell our global audience a little bit about Anpha Corporation and MIK. What are they and what do they do?
All right, just want to share with you why I'm representing two companies at the same time, because for us we're not very sure that besides as an investor, we also want to be a professional service provider with a consultancy company. We are separating the management and the holding of entities separately, because especially in Vietnam, when you see that most likely they will lump these two together. But after a while, you realize that if you have the real estate company developer, usually they have the risk of borrowing, they have the market risk. But the management company is the one that carrying all the expertise, and they should last and sustain. So that's the reason why I separate two of them out. And Anpha Corporation is the consultancy company. I consider it's a brain of the company.
Okay.
And MIK is the investment, is an investor, is the one holding the money. So they both of them sharing some of the top level management. However, they have to work in a way that they have to have a certain debate, and it's a head-love kind of relationship in order to make sure that we manage and grow the fund and the investment of our shareholders. Besides that, Anpha Corp is offering the service to other developers. Like recently, we are offering to Gamoda Group from Malaysia for their projects in Vietnam, because they have not much of knowledge about the market, the local market. They really need us to give them a strategy, build up for them the planning for marketing and sales, and even the product consultancy. So that's what we are offering.
Very
in
interesting.
both companies.
So your two companies kind of work as checks and balances with each other, and Anpha, in addition, works with other developers.
Yes.
Very good. Well, very interesting. So let's talk about Vietnam. So for the international property investor in 2016, basically, why should they be considering Vietnam? Why should they put investment into real estate and property into their radar screens right now?
I'm sure that so many people have talked about such a young populations, and you look at the Vietnamese. There are a lot of people are very entrepreneurial. They are hardworking, and they are really learning very fast. And you look at the history of Vietnam when they have we can have to say that the evolutions of the economy when we all started to change and open the market from 1986, but exactly only after 1992 then we start to see foreign investors coming in, bringing in funding as well as technology. From 1992 to 2003, foreign developer dominate the whole market, and even the construction company, they also dominate the market. But from 2002 and later on, you will see that a lot more Vietnamese company is growing up, and now you see that in real estate market, a lot of them are local player as well as in construction business. Most of the big company now are the local company, and they can build a lot of tall buildings. The tallest building that they built is 72-story. So that's what I see, that there's a lot of changes over here in Vietnam, and with such economy, young economy, and people are really trying very hard to get rich, and a lot of them also, you see the flow of foreign educated Vietnamese, they coming back to Vietnam to help out the economy. And you see that also Vietnam moving out from the poor country to a mid-income country. With the growth of the mid-income group of people, definitely I see that the growth of the real estate is definitely must be there, because the fundamental is already there. You also notice that Vietnam was a very cash-based economy.
Yes.
You see, still have much room for loan, for bank to start to finance the buyer. So definitely, whatever you have seen in the past is nothing to be compared to the future when the bank is opening up.
So this coming year, in terms of your developments, do you see a larger percentage of buyers, domestic buyers, looking for financing and mortgage systems versus before?
Yes, definitely. You have seen that in all the report. All the banks now reporting that their loan for real estate is growing, is a big jump. Some of the banks even double from last year. People are more open to take the loan because they're having a more stable income, and they're very confident about the economy. So that's what they see, that it's good to take a loan. Secondly, you see that the reason why I say that the market is still somehow is very good, because a lot of Vietnamese, they have their own house which is paid, and it is a freehold land.
Okay.
So they can pass from generation to generation.
Yes.
And the real estate price for the landed property in Vietnam is still very high. So for parents, responsible parents, if they want to give property to their children, they either give the property, the landed, or they can sell the landed property so that the children can buy 2 or 3 apartments.
Sure. But with all of the positive things that you've commented on, Vietnam has had more than one property bubble, real estate bubble. So things are increasing now, particularly on the residential side. But do you think this could be the beginning of another bubble or another period of speculation? What's your view on that?
All right, I have gone through the 2 cycles. When I first came back to Vietnam in 2008, and it was a time that Vietnam is start to get, going down. The market is going down at that time, and I also have seen that the market is picking up and have another downturn in 2011.
Yes.
And so many forecasts say that okay, the market is better to next year, the market better next year. But for me, I only can see the market is really getting better in 2015. You are right to point out that as such a very young economy, we are very volatile in this way. Any of the bad news from the market can affect the people, as well as right now you start to see that we ourselves as a real estate developer as well as a consultant, we ourselves also can see that people are buying more than that what they need.
They're buying more than what they need.
Exactly, because those who can afford to buy an apartment now, they can afford to buy two.
You're talking about the Vietnamese buyer.
The Vietnamese buyer.
Okay.
So that and also they can approach to the loan. Last time they never they
Right.
had to buy by cash.
Mortgages really
Exactly.
didn't exist here at all.
So the risk that I seen that they haven't measured the the cash flow risk. So that make them overexposed to investment.
So you feel that there is some speculation going on in the local domestic market in terms of
Exactly.
buyers. Well, in terms of foreign buyers, and perhaps many of our audience that are watching this, what would you say, therefore, are some of the gotchas, some of the risks of considering to invest or buy residential property in Vietnam today or in 2016?
For the foreign investor, I see that firstly they know that Vietnam is just opened the laws allowing the foreigners to buy property here.
Yes, in
And
July this
yes,
past year.
from 1st July, and they can own a property, but it's a leasehold.
Leasehold, yes, 50-year
50 years lease. But it's extendable. The government is giving it extendable of another 50 more years, as well as if you are selling back to the local, then the property become a freehold again.
Freeholds, right. So if you sell back and you're selling back to a Vietnamese, the title changes to freehold.
Yep. So for me, the risk of buying a property and then you have a depreciation of the price just because of the leasehold term is not there. But I don't see much of the legal risk right now, especially Vietnamese government is always protecting the foreign investor. That is very good sign.
Okay.
However, I have to emphasize that they have to select the right property to buy. For Vietnamese, if they cannot resell the property, they cannot lease it out, they still can stay on the property.
Certainly.
But for the foreigner, definitely you have to rely on leasing or reselling.
Yes.
So they have to look at either capital gain or the rental yield.
Yes. Or a combination. possibly.
Exactly. My suggestion is that they should better look at the rental yield.
Rental yield. So looking at Vietnamese residential property, more for rental yield than specifically capital gain.
Yep. Because for me, it's very hard for them to judge whether the property is at the right price or is it
Absolutely.
overpriced.
Well, how do you tell in Vietnam? You're a developer. I'm a foreign investor. Okay, you're having primary property, new condos, new apartments. How do I know? Is this price a reasonable price? Is it overpriced? Is it underpriced? How do I know that?
All right, that is very good questions. I share with you as I myself as a developer, as well I'm also an investor by myself. Before buying a property or piece of land to develop, I always look at the infrastructure.
The infrastructure.
Besides the roads that we are looking at, it's also about the social infrastructure, which is the development of all the school, all the retail, and as well as all the hospital, whether they have a hospital. So we have to look at that because those are investment on the value of the land that you're developing on.
Certainly.
All right. So make sure that you find the location that the investment on the infrastructure there is good enough to grow.
So, as a foreigner looking in, you may see a development that, the marketing materials look very good for the apartment or for the unit. But also what you're saying is you have to have some research, some homework in terms of, let's say, even the roads.
Yes.
Because the project may be a good project, but it's hard to get in and out. Ho Chi Minh's a very crowded place.
Exactly.
So you've got to look at all of that, as well as where's the nearest hospital, where's the nearest school, etc. So let's get right down to some advice. Let's say I'm a foreign investor and I have I don't know, maybe I have $500,000, maybe I have $1 million, somewhere in that range, and I can buy many countries, but I'm interested in Vietnam. I don't have anything here, so how would you approach that? What would you generally consider for that amount of money? What would you buy here in Vietnam in 2016?
I think that that question will link back to your previous questions about how you evaluate whether it's the right price. For me, okay, for me before I'm talking about is it the right price or not, then usually I look at the rental yield.
Okay.
For landed property, I'm looking at the yield is about 4 to 5% at least
Landed property here, 4 to 5%.
per annum.
Okay.
All right, and for the apartment, you have to hit the yield from 7 to 9% per annum.
7 to 9%. But is that doable in Vietnam today?
It is doable. That's why before you're buying a property, you make sure that you can lease out at that kind of yield. So at least if you don't look at the capital gain, you still have the yield that to service you.
So if I'm a foreign investor and I follow what you're saying, and I'm looking at MIK projects, what do you do for the foreign investor who doesn't have the resources to know everything that, okay, yes, Michael, I want to buy a new property, primary property, my focus is rental yield 7 to 9%. How do you help me? How do you help the foreign investor get that?
You're right, because it's very difficult decision, because firstly, the market you have no knowledge about, and secondly, you don't have a company right now in Vietnam really help you to manage the money very well. So you still have to look for, there's few key factors that you have to look for. First, you have to look for a developer who have a good track record.
Good track record.
So
Yes.
make sure that you will have, can get your product, after development time. Secondly, you should look for development with the very good operators, or I have to say that it should be international operators.
You mean in terms of management?
Management, and I gear more, and I suggest more to the foreign investor to look at the tourism property rather than the real estate property in the city.
Really? Can you give some examples? When you say tourism property, what do you mean by that?
It should be it can be a villas or condotel. It's managed by international brand. Those are, you are sure that your property is being managed well, and you can trust on all the report from the international management company operators, and also your property always is a branded property rather than it's just a normal local property. Because one day if you have the market have some difficulty, you realize that people will start to look at what is the fundamental of that property, and as a internationally run property is always have attractions, and also they always have the client base, the global client base to support the rental.
Certainly. Well, let's say, back to the question, if I had $1 million, okay, and given everything you've said, I'm interested in rental yield. I agree that I am more attracted to a property of some kind that has international management. Where would you put your money? There's different types, different segments of the residential market. There's affordable housing, there's kind of mid-range, there's luxury premium type, resorts, there's villas, there can be serviced apartments, there can be serviced hotel type units. Where would you put your money if you're speaking to someone who's interested? How would you split? Would you split it up, or would you buy one thing? What's your kind of suggestions in general to maybe consider?
For 1 million, you can buy a lot of properties in Vietnam.
Really?
Yes. So be sure that you have a lot of choices, but you may look at either a service apartment in city center. This is very good for you.
Serviced apartment in the city center.
Exactly.
Let's say Ho Chi Minh.
Exactly, because Vietnam is now very open to the global economy.
Yes.
As we see a lot of foreign travelers, and they need a service of apartment. Make sure that it's being operated by an internationally recognized company. Secondly, you can look at villas property, or what's so called is limited service hotel or condo hotel.
Well, when you say
in the
villas and
resort.
resorts, obviously, is that Ho Chi Minh or where is that?
You should look at the destination, like resort destination in Vietnam,
Such
like
as?
Nha Trang,
Nha Trang?
Phu Quoc. Phu Quoc is
Phu Quoc.
upcoming.
Phu Quoc.
Yeah, I see that Nha Trang and Phu Quoc are the two very attractive area for investment.
Oh, that's very interesting. Well, basically, one last question. As a leading property developer in Vietnam, what kind of challenges do you face? What are your specific things that you're overcoming as a developer here that would be interesting for a global investor to know? How are you improving and increasing the quality of your product in Vietnam?
All right. Yeah. As a development process, the land clearance is very difficult in Vietnam.
Is it?
Yeah, because the land price keep increasing, and then
Mhm.
people are always hoping that they are sitting on the on the gold mine. That's why it's very hard to buy the land back to develop our projects.
Mm.
Secondly, what is so difficult for us as a developer, especially in Vietnam right now, that is we are lacking a lot of talent and train people to manage the property and manage the development process. And also one of the challenges that we have to always have to overcome, that is the we will have the issue that we have some of the shareholders may not understand much about the development, and then they intervene too much in the process of development. That may cause the worse quality of product. Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you for the time. It's been very
My
interesting.
pleasure.
That concludes our interview with Michael Dang, the president of Anpha Group, as well as the founder and managing director of MIK Corporation. So thank you for your time and your expertise. And for our viewers, thank you for taking your time to listen to Vietnam Real Estate Insights. Please come back and listen to more experts talk about the market here. My name is Harlow Russell and your host. Thank you and have a pleasant day.